The Dreaming, the Bittersweet Scent of Opium. London, 1894, the British Museum. The year Kipling published The Jungle Book. This was the start of it. His 3 years among waking men, here. The year Kipling published The Jungle Book. The year that Robert Louis Stevenson died. The Librarian of Dreams has always marked time with a calendar of poets and storytellers, and is a beginning as he could have wished for, terra firma, this place of secrets and mouldering books. Sent by the Lord of Dreams to fulfill specific duties, to oversee a handful of earthly concerns, at census of certain magical books. First his appointment with Professor John Hathaway, still new to his post as senior curator, and an expert on ancient manuscripts and occult writings. You receive a lot of inquiries about the Magdalene, but most of them from the worst sort of charlatan mystics and crackpots. MacGregor Mathers, W.R. Woodman, that ilk. Yes, I would imagine so. And the librarian only needed to see the grimoire, no need even to touch it, to know that the binding spell was still strong. The real secret still locked deeper than ink and parchment, still safe from the world of man, and man still safe from it. A week later, when he first saw her, a public lecture by Professor Huxley at the College of Science, fossils and metaphysics, and Lucian almost nodding off. Mr. Balfour ought to have acquainted himself with the opinions of those he attacks, until he glanced across the hall, and the old man's enthusiastic drone forgotten for that face. How long since he'd felt anything so alive in him, and the certainty and dread immediate that he would never see her again. Mind yourself, librarian, imagining that sudden reproach in his lord's voice, words cold enough to smother any passion. I have not sent you to gaze on mortal women. So the duty that he would never see her again. And the librarian's attention drifted back to the orator, back to the time and dim pleasures allotted him before his return to the dreaming. All the empiricists from Locke onwards make the observation of the phenomena of the mind itself quite separate from the study of mere sensation. But he did see her again, only a week later, cool and rainy July day in Sydenham, and he'd come with Jessamy to look at pre-Adamite monsters while she talked with other ravens. She will not see me, as if he could will her eyes not to wander his way, and the librarian was about to walk away, called to Jessamy, when the lady turned toward him. "Hello, Lucian," she called out, voice to burn away the chill, his name as if she knew him, and the recognition bright in her eyes. "Oh, hello?" "I'm sorry, but you seem to have a distinct advantage over me, Miss Christina Weston, and you are Lucian, aren't you?" "Yes, but how—" "You were at Professor Huxley's lecture." "Yes, but—" "And last night you dreamt of me." I think that Huxley is a far less rational man than he would have us believe. There's a sort of madness in him. Melancholy has haunted his whole life. "Then you are not a Darwinist?" "No, of course. I am a Darwinist. It amazes me that anyone 35 years after Mr. Darwin's book could still doubt the mutability of species. What I am not is what men like Professor Huxley would pretend to be. I am not so devoted to these new truths about the world that I would blind myself to the mysteries." "Ah, I see. And what mysteries are those in particular?" How I knew your name? Or your dreams? Aren't you more than a little curious, Lucian?
I can think of any number of explanations.
Naturally, but I have to go now. And besides, your raven is returning.
She's not my raven, she's Lord.
And he caught himself realizing she'd caught him somehow already, and the whole world seeming to tilt unsteady beneath him. I'll see you again, Lucian. Soon, at Tepper's Court, I believe. We'll talk more then. Who was she, Lucian?
I have no earthly idea, but I think I need a drink.
Tepper's Court, Berkshire, July 22nd.
Wherever did you find such a remarkable man, Billy? Is it tame? The raven, I mean? Jessamine knows how to behave herself. I was just describing your new illustrations for Salome to Lucian. They're stunning. And where's Oscar tonight? Your guess is as good as mine. I find it difficult to believe he'd actually miss the unveiling of the one of his proteges. Aubrey, that woman there, the one in blue, who is she?
Miss Weston? You mean to tell me you haven't met Christina Weston?
Well, I have met her. At Sydenham, and she told me we'd meet again here, at Tepper's, a week before I'd ever heard of Mathilda Thorne.
She's a medium, a clairvoyant of no small ability, and a member of the Golden Dawn. I've attended one of her sittings myself. Remarkable woman.
When we met, she knew my name.
Last year, her spirit control, an ancient Greek named Epiphumia, predicted that Irish Home Rule would pass Commons, but would be rejected by the House of Lords. And who couldn't have foreseen that? As for knowing that your friend here would attend tonight, I'm sure it was she herself made sure that Oscar added his name. You're too typical. And some prophecies and prophets are self-fulfilling, Billy. Well, yes, of course, but there's really no need for all this formality. Miss Meston, I would like you to meet a very dear friend of mine. Well, hello again, Lucian. What a pleasant surprise. And you've brought Jessamine. How delightful. Yes, and I will leave you two, you three, to get better acquainted. I believe that Miss Rossetti has cornered poor Aubrey. I'd no idea that you were a friend of Yeats. How long have you known him?
We met in Ireland, in Sligo, years ago, but I would have thought you'd already...
I'm not omniscient, Lucian. Just precocious.
You are a remarkable woman, Miss Weston. I would like the opportunity to get to know you better.
Then you shall, Lucian. Already the librarian telling himself it was his duty to his lord, fueling his interest in this woman, the off chance that she might truly possess the ability to know the dreams of a dream. That and only that. And already he knew better. August 15th, New Coventry Street, Westminster. Oscar calls her La Fée Verte, the green fairy. She is the essence of the absinthe. And when you drink it, you take her inside you.
What is it, odor? Anise?
The librarian had seen her almost every day since Mathilda Thorne's party, sometimes with Yeats, the three of them off to a theatre or a museum, one diversion or another as the summer passed, and sometimes just the two of them. Yes, Lucian, Anise. And when you take the green fairy into you, she may give you a glimpse of Evelyn. He knew that he'd fallen in love with her, with the living light of her, with her appetite and passions. How can this ever end but badly? Jessamine would whisper late at night, ragged raven voice, only wanting him to be careful, only wanting him to be wide awake. You will hurt her, and then you will hurt yourself. But Christina Weston had shown him more of magic in a few short weeks than his tired and grounded soul had known in a millennium. The taste of wormwood and herbs on her mouth, the alcohol burning his blood to slag, and he had spent a small eternity being timid, being alone. Oh, Lucian! Not since Eve had the librarian known this solace, this peace in his ancient heart, not since that red day at the crossroads of nightmare 10,000 years past. 10,000 years since he gave up his wings. And Christina was giving them back. Shh. Don't talk. But Lucian, oh God, Lucian. I see her. Oh God, I do see her. But his mission not forgotten, and soon Lucian left London for Paris, for Cairo and India, continuing the census and Christina left behind. Almost 2 years before his return, interminable months and only letters passed between them. The séance was already planned when he wrote her he was returning, finally, and Lucian had gone directly from the bustle and steam of Victoria Station to Yeats' home in Bedford Park. November 3rd, 1896. At the time it was only coincidence, hardly even that. He had attended Christina's sittings before. They were curious things, sometimes surprising, but nothing that might have prepared him for the terrible thing he would see and hear that autumn night at 3 Blenheim Road.
Am I late? Has she started?
No, we're just about to go upstairs. You're right on time. I dare say she's hardly talked of anything but you all night, Lucian. And you're looking so well. Joel must agree with you.
Paris was nice enough, but Venice made up for it. I thought I would never be dry again.
Terrible wounding things.
Lucian, it is you.
The prodigal returns, and this blackbird too. Later he would remember the smell of her hair, the warmth of her, and the librarian would wish that he'd possessed an inkling of her prescience. It's been an eternity, Lucian. An eternity and a half. I have so much to tell you. So he'd known what waited for them both upstairs.
And I want to hear it all. But we wouldn't want to interrupt the evening's investigations.
He would have helped her longer.
Indeed, there are strange signs in the sky tonight, Lucian. Alignments, conjunctions that won't come again this century. I think Christina may yet impress even the most jaded this evening.
Indeed. And last night a burning star fell into the Thames from Cygnus the swan, they say. Epiphemia told me the star would fall, and that the next night she would reveal marvels. And on the way up the stairs, Jessamine leaned close to the librarian's ear, and she whispered urgent whisper, but nothing anyone else might hear. Something isn't right, Lucian. Do you not feel it? But he had only stroked the raven's head and squeezed Christina's hand. The sitting room smelled dry and sweet, like dust and flowers, like the expectation of the men and women who'd come for the show. Christina's show, planchettes and automatic writing, prophecy and levitation, so they would all take away a pinch of wonder. But he knew it was never her real magic, even if she thought it was. Are you comfortable, Christina? Yes, William. Everyone. Please join hands. And Lucian, not even thinking about the next hour or two, the tiny miracles Christina might perform, his mind racing ahead to the moment they would finally be alone again. And do not break the circle. And the night rolled forward, as straight and certain as the steel tracks that carried him back to London. One more long moment of silence. And it began. I am here, Euphemia, just as you have asked. We are all here, waiting for you. We have the yellow tulips. We are waiting. Oh, Jesus! And the librarian does feel it then, like a jolt of electricity, like the wind of a frozen lake. Very good, Christina. You are such a thoughtful little remembering the tulips. And you, librarian, away from your books again? But she does not know what you are. None of them know, do they? Christina. Well, the flowers are for you. Do you know the language of flowers, librarian? Of course you do. Ah! Yellow tulips for a hopeless love. And then the cold, no passing phantom draft, not a shiver, but the bitter acid cold of ocean-black sea floors, cold of dead moons, cold of hearts rotting in the grave, the cold filling the room. I have many pretty secrets to show you, librarian, and you too, Mr. Yeats. But Christina, she is seeing them now. Christina, can you hear me? For God's sake, somebody stop this! You have to come back to us, Christina. Wherever you are, you have to come back now. Release her, Euphemia. You're killing her. And then that voice, that hoary voice, as though the walls were speaking, as though the frigid air that learned to talk. Let her go. She asked me here, librarian. You cannot send me away. Tell it to leave you, Christina. If you can hear me, you must tell it to leave your body. Oh God, Billy, do you see? Lucian, look at the table, the ectoplasm. Oh, Billy, what does it mean? You think that's funny? It's all some abominable game for you, isn't it? And the voice again, icicle hate dripping from nowhere into this world, pouring through the hole it carved in Christina's soul. Isn't it, librarian? Isn't it always an abominable game finding the truth? Do you hear me laughing? Oh! Almost over then, except he already knew that this would never be over. The damage had been done, that could never be repaired. A sound like a typhoon of flame, antithesis of the cold sound like the sun being sniffed out. And for a second too short to mark, the room was brighter than a star. Before the light was swallowed, and there was only darkness, the night reclaiming the room. Lucian could hear Christina crying, the clumsy panicked sounds of people stumbling about. And far away, as distant as sunrise, an indifferent sexless laughter echoing across the sky. January 10, 1897. After the séance, Christina, like a ghost to him, Christina became a ghost to the entire living world, retreating to filthy East End streets and Chinese opium dens, retreating into herself. Not long before the old man with their yellow teeth and long grey braids began to recognize him, and to expect the coins he gave them to betray Christina's confidences. She is here, but she does not wish to be disturbed. That isn't your concern. Christina, I have told you not to look for me, Lucian. I do not want to see you. I don't want to see anyone. Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you tell me what it is you saw? If I knew... If you knew, Lucian, we would both be damned. Let that be my decision, Christina. Let me choose my fate. There are no choices, your fate and mine. They were chosen for us ages and ages ago. What did you say, Christina? You have to believe that I can help you. Please, Lucian. I won't hurt you. I've let this blackness into my soul. I asked it in, and now it's mine to bear alone. Whatever you saw, it was trying to hurt you. It wanted to hurt us all. Don't you see that? No, Lucian. There's no reason to believe the things that it showed you were true. There's every reason to think just the opposite. They were true. I've never glimpsed anything half so true, Lucian, as the things and perfume you showed me that night. You will leave me soon, Lucian. You will have to leave me, because what you came here to do has been finished, and you are not allowed to stay. I will not leave you, Christina. You have no choice, Lucian. Weeks of Lucian tracking her through the back alleys and piss-reek cobbles of Stepney and Poplar, Penderfields and Limehouse Causeway. Grey weeks of acrid sweet opium shadows, and the Raven could see how close Lucian was to joining Christina in her despair. And then, one frost-hot night in February, and Jasmine would watch it no longer. Decades later, in a ruined age, she would tell Lucian about this night, of finding Christina in the hovel in Bluegate Fields. The things the Raven said to her, the things she said to Jasmine. Jasmine? It is you, isn't it, Jasmine?
Yes, you should close the window now, Christina. The wind is cold.
Jesus, you can talk?
You would question that after all you've been through, all you've seen?
No, I wasn't expecting it, that's all. He sent you, didn't he? Who is he, Jasmine? Is he a wizard, a mage?
No, he didn't send me. And Lucian is exactly what he's told you he is. A librarian.
Librarian was a talking raven.
He must leave London soon, Christina. He would have gone months ago, but his fear for you is keeping him here. Your silence.
I will tell you no more than I've told Lucian.
I don't care what you say that night, what you saw that night, Christina. You invited visions, as if they would always be pleasant things. Whatever you've been shown in your burden now, you know that. But he cares for you very much. And Lucian has loved no one in a very long time. If he stays, Christina, it will destroy him. He lives by rules that cannot be bent, much less broken.
I have tried to hide.
You are hiding from yourself, not Lucian. You're terrified he'll leave and are always careful that he can find you. Leave London, Christina. If you care for him, go somewhere he cannot find you.
He is the only light left in me. You don't know what you're asking.
I'm asking you to save his life.
You do not know what is coming.
Let him go, Christina. Let him go.
March 31, 1897. King's Road, Chelsea. And the Raven did not see her again, did not see her alive, but another month in London, the librarian searching every corner of the city.
Yes, it would be entirely disastrous if I were to delay my departure by even another day. My employer demands punctuality.
Of course. Then I beg you, Lucian, as a friend, you cannot save this girl. You cannot even find her. Do not drag yourself down trying.
Are you not also Christina's friend? Have you turned your back on her and asked me to do the same because she is weak, because she is sick?
You've asked my advice, and I've given it to you. I won't argue with you because it wasn't what you wanted to hear. I can't make this decision for you.
It's been so long since. You wouldn't believe me, you couldn't, Bill. If I told you, you'd pack me off to a sanitarium. How can I go? How can I even think of abandoning her?
And the Raven, who had once been a woman herself, could not cry for him, because ravens do not cry, precisely. but she felt his emptiness, and outside the rain made a sound like weeping. April 8, 1897. Highgate Cemetery, London. The librarian almost didn't come. Thesis, there is no beginning. Antithesis, there is a beginning. Or as I prefer, thesis, there is an end. Antithesis, there is no end. Exhausted by the cry that it can never end, my love ends. Without that cry it were not love, but desire, and desire does not end. The anguish of birth and that of death cry out in the self-same instant. Life is no series of emanations from divine reason, as a Kabbalists imagine, but irrational bitterness. No orderly descent from level to level, no waterfall but a whirlpool, a gyre. I didn't think you were coming.
Yes, well, neither did I.
It's good that you did, Lucian. There's already enough to regret. We found this in her flat. It's something she wanted you to have. I should go now, Lucian. Lily is waiting. Please come with us.
No, thank you, Bill, but I want to be here a little longer.
Oh, Christina. The Two Trees, Witchcross, 1916. And later he would know, would remember those two words, the date she'd written and understand. But it meant nothing then, and he thought it only a stray bit of paper she'd used to mark the poem, that the poem was her message. And he did not say anything, because there was nothing left to say. Only the certain ancient rhythm of the rain against the houses of the dead, and the smell of earth, and the busy sound of shovels.